Hello, everybody.
Welcome to the Business Podcast, where we discuss good business.
And also Star Wars Unlimited. Welcome to episode 47 of the by Squadron podcast.
That's
I always
us.
just said the Star Wars podcast.
The Star Wars Podcast?
Just the Star Wars
That's
podcast.
us.
We are the definitive...
We are the Star Wars Podcast.
We are, the definitive Star Wars podcast.
Whoa, the Acolyte. How about that? Anyway, where's my Jedi Master Soul card?
It'll come.
I actually do kind of want a Kamir card. Not gonna lie. So, before we start, controversially, it's over. But Soul and Kamir are really cool. All right.
Yeah. Take what you can. Take what you like about it. Talk what you like about it. Ignore the rest of it. That's how I've watched Star Wars.
Speaking of talking about what we like, you know what?
Oh, baby.
You know what I like? We played a lot of it on this channel.
We do.
And it's green. It's mono green. We're talking green.
We're talking green today. We're talking all things Command and all things green. And if you check out the gameplay this week, it's mono green versus mono green.
It is a doozy.
And it is a good old time.
We,
I play a card legitimately in a game that you thought would never get played.
And it worked good. Worked good. Green this set, hey? How about that?
Absolutely.
Let's take it from the top, I suppose. We're talking about the colors again. We're going to run through them over the next 4 weeks, and we're going to talk about how they've changed, how they've evolved, and what's good now. And we wanted to tackle green first because that was the color we felt was weakest as a mono deck in set 1. Mm-hmm. That has really changed.
Absolutely.
That's really changed.
And weirdly enough, it's not because of something that you would expect of like a new mono green card that's come out that's changed everything.
Yeah.
It's more that it just now it's like, and I think it's why it feels so much better is because I feel like in a mono green deck last set you'd struggle to get 50 cards.
Yeah.
Whereas in a mono green deck this set,
so many options.
It's tight.
I mean, like, to be completely honest, the mono green cards this set, they're not all that great.
You shut your mouth.
They're not all that great. And Endless Legions is expensive, and in most decks you won't run it unless you've specifically crafted your deck with care to do that. The Enterprising Lackeys, it's a decent card. Really good in the deck I play, which is Hondo. I've found that we definitely, the 2 leaders we play in the gameplay, we underrated.
Oh yeah.
They're both real good. We both went 3-1 at our 24-player locals last week. And, we were in, the top 4. It was wild. And those decks were incredible. We both lost to meta decks. I lost to Sabine and he lost to Mono Yellow Boba. And we got really far.
We'll talk about that another week.
But, it just goes to show that set 1, it was exactly what James is saying, is there just wasn't enough cards and there wasn't a deck just yet.
Yeah.
But now we've got so many more options and so many good cards.
And I think it takes mono green takes a lot of things that were really good in set 1, which is a lot of green. Villain green has always been one of the top dogs in terms of slices of the color pie.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the top decks and Vader Ramp.
Yeah.
Iden and Krennic green.
Yeah.
Palpatine
red.
Blue, or Palpatine red, or Palpatine.
But yeah, and even in going into Hero, what was the biggest Hero deck other than Sabine to have a big impact in the meta? It was Green Han.
Yeah.
Had that super value of U-Wing and Home 1 that really started doing work. And the one thing Hero was missing in set 1 was ramp. They couldn't get to those pieces fast enough. That has been changed.
I am a big fan of blue-green Wookiees with the ramp now. It's so much fun. And then you've got your alternative yellow-green decks like Mandalorian yellow-green, which relies more on using bounties than Han's just spamming out value. So, but let's talk about some of the new cards that are good, and then let's talk about some of the old cards that have found a new home.
Absolutely. And I think a card that probably from playing it quite a bit recently, you've also been playing it quite a bit recently, one of the best cards to come is actually a 1-cost.
It's him.
And it is Salacious Crumb.
Oh, he's so good.
This card is actually bonkers. And you might be like, yeah, I can just like swing into him and remove him. And it's like, all right,
Sure.
do it. Because if you don't, I win. Because I get so much value from him.
And if you do, he's a sentinel. Like, he's
Okay.
a 1-cost sentinel.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm happy
sure.
for that.
Okay, pal. Like, man, is he so good. And we've got a lot of monkey lizards in the game. We've seen them. We've got Salacious Crumb on Jabba's leader art. We've got, of course, Pilf Muck Muck on Hondo's art, which is the name of Hondo's monkey. And now we have Salacious in his very own card. But I think it is not to be understated how versatile this card is. This is our first card in the game that has an ability that allows us to return it to its hand for an effect.
And only positives.
Yeah.
Like, play it, heal 1, bounce it, ping 1. Both things that you want
Yeah.
all the time.
All the time.
And so this card never feels bad to play. You have a Yularen out, you're healing 2
Oh my God,
from
they're
it.
best
It's
friends.
nuts.
They're best friends.
And just being able to get that 1 ping consistently is always
Get rid of
fantastic for
shields.
breakpoints. Get rid of shields.
Breakpoints. Even just returning him and just pinging anything because you want to. Just to play him again to heal. And him being a 3 health, the amount of times I played against Cad Bane and been like, I'll ping 2 damage onto Salacious, bounce him, play him again. And like, he's here to stay. And when I say that, I mean that this is a green staple. Whenever I find myself putting a green villain deck now, I'm like, 3 Crumb straight away.
Absolutely. And I think it's just one of those cards that is just so good.
Yeah.
That it is wild that, like, as soon as we saw it, we're like, this is awesome, this is fun.
Yeah,
and then we played with it and we're like, oh, this is good.
Really, really
Really, really good.
Um,
and I think there's a lot of things that can use it really well. I think I'm definitely...
Every deck off the top of my head that has it in it is good with it.
It's like, even when you start to move away from green, mono green, into like Cad Bane uses it phenomenally.
Bosk loves it.
Bosk loves it.
Bosk really likes
Because you
just
ping
having
something,
the
then you ping something again.
Yeah. Just being able to have that additional ping is pretty huge.
Like, and then we're moving back to mono green, like Palpatine, or even if you're not running
Just
mono green,
any version
being able
of
to like
Palpatine.
heal, ping 1, heal, ping 1, heal, tap 1, kill it, ping 1, draw. Like, it's the perfect thing to be able to use that on after you've gotten a couple bounces off it, and then just being like, all right, I'm happy to have it sacked now and draw a card.
Yeah. And like it's just incredible. Like the versatility of this 1 card. And the wildest part about Salacious Crumb is the fact that he's only going to get better. Next set, we get a new round of green villain decks. Yeah. Next set, we get a new round of Salacious Crumb.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Salacious Crumb is one of the best villain green cards that we've seen come down. I would put it up there as one of the best cards to release in set 2. Purely on a basis, not because it's a bomb, not because it wins you the game, but because it provides so much value every single time I see it.
I would say that Salacious is the best value-based card in set 2. I think that's a fair assessment. I think that he does so much for so little, and that's the basis of just a good card.
Absolutely.
On to other green villain absolute bombs. Should we talk about Phase 3 Dark Trooper?
I do love myself Phase 3 Dark Trooper. Starter set, exclusive.
Killing it again.
Meant to be in the Moff Gideon, but just killing it wherever he goes.
Wherever you want to put it.
We like Cell Block Guard. This is just better Cell Block Guard in every way.
I love ECLing him in.
Oh, yeah.
And just being like, I killed this, and put a counter on it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, awesome. So you essentially killed something and you get an Echo-based defender?
Mm-hmm. Sure do.
Awesome.
Huge card and absolutely able to save games, that one.
Especially when you command him.
Yeah. Being able to put him down at 3 and command him at 4 is huge. I think that card is actually incredible.
Yeah, it's elevated a lot of decks that like Green Palpatine, just having access to another really, really good Sentinel. And then like it adds to the villain's game plan because a lot of villain green decks got pumped by aggro, and they were all like cell block guards. You know, some decks even were like, I'm just gonna run Charles, and for the fact that he might only be a 4/4, but at least he's a Sentinel. Now we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can just take out those stretching cards and put in just a solid, fantastic body of Phase 3 Dark Trooper.
And speaking of things that love being buffed up, I cannot sing the praises enough of this card. I think it's even better than Phase 3 Dark Trooper. I think it's probably I think it's underrated. It's Crosshair. I think this card is just absolutely nuts. That card by itself with a command on it, with whatever, even just by itself as a 2/6, has won me games. Its ability to create value on a field where they're not able to remove here, is so high.
It's a mini Han.
It's
effectively.
But it's better than a mini Han because a mini Han is Incinerator Trooper, but Incinerator Trooper can't ping things, right? It can't be like, I'm going to swing into this so that it has 4 damage left so I can swing into it with this. It can't do that, it'll just die. Whereas Crosshair can, and the fact that he can just consistently put out damage onto the board without taking damage back, I think is one of the most huge things in a kind of slower deck. I understand, if you're going a lot faster, there is that thing of well, he's fine, I guess.
That's
but it's a lot of cost for not a lot of damage to base.
I think that Crosshair is incredible, but I think that you need to be making sure he's in the right decks. But I think one big, simply undeniable fact: Crosshair's an Imperial.
Yeah.
Run him in Tarkin.
Oh yeah.
Run him in Palpatine.
Yep.
Put a command on him, and then pay 4 and put that TIE fighter on him.
Or if you're running Palpatine, you can also run a different color, and instead of running commands, you can just run the TIE Advanced.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Just play the TIE, buff him up, and again, you can do the same thing in decks like Tarkin. I think being able to put down a Crosshair, and then the next turn flip your Tarkin is despicable.
Oh yeah.
Because you can buff, flip Tarkin, swing, buff, tap, ping 4, and then, there have been games where I think the biggest thing with Crosshair is he definitely works better in a slower deck. I've literally won a game because my opponent's gone, all right, I'll claim, and I go, cool, pay 2, pay 2, pay 2, +3, +0, swing.
Yeah. And I quite rarely use that ability of his.
But it's still there.
But it's still there if I need it. And it's one of those things that's like...
The options are good.
Yeah, you can easily just be like, all right, pay 4, get +2, and now I'm swinging for 8 into something.
Crosshair looks awesome, and I have 2 Hyperfoil Crosshairs. They are they're gorgeous, man.
Very pretty.
They're so pretty. But yes, I think that my big thing with Crosshair is I think he's amazing. I definitely think he's underrated. But I think he definitely belongs in more mid-rangey to slow decks. But it's just kind of undeniable that dropping a 4-cost 2/6 is good. I mean, let's look at the other 4-cost 2/6 that came out in this set. Nima Outpost Constables.
Yeah. And
Crosshair does more than that card.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, a little shout out to our guys. Again, an amazing card. But let's move into Hero. Speaking of just amazing early value pieces.
And we talked about it 100 times in the last podcast. It was 2 weeks ago because of the live stream. We talked about it 100 times there. And it's Sundari Peacekeeper.
Look at this guy.
Look
at this guy.
It's just so... 5 health on a 3-cost is crazy.
They did it. They printed a ground A-wing with Wing Leader on it. And it has Restore too. They did the crazy bastards did it.
This card is great. I think this is one of the best turn 2 plays that you can straight in a
100%.
void. One of the best turn 2 plays that you can just slap down.
This is one of the best plays that Green Hero can make. Full stop.
Yeah, and suddenly, and it adds so much because it's not just a turn 2 play. It's a U-wing target. It's a home 1 target. Yeah. These guys are not going away,
it's a late game stabilizer.
Absolutely. These guys are just gonna come back and gonna come back and gonna come back, and you're like, didn't you only have 3 in your deck? And then like, yeah.
I mean, you saw it when we played Hunter and Boba. They were whenever they dropped, it was ruh-roh.
Yeah.
That's That's bad.
It's hard to deal with in just a way that's just so tough.
It's just it's an odd statted card for the time you drop it that your opponent just can't deal with it. And by the time they can, it's too late. And fingers crossed, is it just a cheeky little tease into set 3? Please give us a Green Hero Satine leader for Green Hero Mandalorians, please. But that's just a theory, a SWU theory.
We'll cross into that space.
SWU theories. But like, oh my gosh, that's such a good, like, genuinely just a good card. Restore 2, incredible. Raid 2, incredible. 1/5 body, incredible. It could have been a 1/5 Restore 2, and it would have been great. It could have been a 1/5 Raid 2, and it would have been great. And they put them both on it, and now it's fantastic.
It's so good.
For the low price of 3 resources. But James, what if it dies?
Well, I got 2 choices really. I can wait to get my home 1 out to bring him back out again, or something that we didn't have in set 1, I'll ramp him.
But how? How are you ramping?
Spark of Hope.
You've got hope?
I got hope.
You got a spark.
And this card is what Hero needed. Like Green Hero was held down by no ramp, by only having resupply, and now it's got resupply and price on your head.
Because I mean, when you look at it, right, set 1 villain had resupply. And if you're playing Mono Green Command and Death Star DJ.
Yeah.
We had resupply, and if you're playing Mono Green Command. And like, just putting it out there, Death Star DJ is really good. So now, Green Hero gets an aggressively costed 2-cost ramp piece that allows it to stay in the game. I mean, I used it when I played Hunter, and it's really good. And I was saying it before, but using it in the Green Chewbacca deck, where you can be like, here's my Sentinel.
Yeah.
And they have to attack it, and they kill it, and you go, awesome, ramp it. Here's my Chewie.
Absolutely.
Like, just being able to do stuff like that and getting value off of your units being defeated softens the blow of your opponent's confidence, and it boosts yours because you're getting ahead now from your defeat, which is the best thing you can do. Is when you get knocked down in a game and you can use everything you can to get a little bit of value to get ahead of your opponent, that's huge.
Yeah. And that with plus the price on your head, plus the ship, if you want to run the ship. It's pretty rare that people want to run a ship, but
just a bit late game, I think.
Yeah, I think if you're going a full ramp build, it works.
Yeah, the ship's good if you're running a full ramp.
But definitely that has put it back up in par with the ramp of villain. I think the only thing that can ramp.
Ship's also good as a late game trade piece.
Yeah.
I think it's
definitely good. It's the ambush on it makes it
the
worth
ambush
it.
is what's good. Like the resource thing is nice, but ambushing into other ships and killing them is good.
But yeah, I think Hunter is the deck I want to play with this now. Yeah. Like I know Boba is really good, but Hunter just has that kind of piece in my heart
of like to ramp into a 5/8.
Yeah.
And his ability is more relevant than you think. It comes up a lot more than you think it would. And I think, once again, like, theory time, but I hope, we get a couple more Bad Batch cards next set. Like, even seeing a Hunter unit would be really cool because, hey, they were there. But, I'm sure we'll see them in the future as well, which means this leader only gets better. Every time we get a good green unique hero unit, well, bada bing, bada boom. Can you believe it? Echo and Hunter get better.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to be great. And he's currently great. We've played gameplays with it before. Yeah, awesome. We've shown it on the site how great that is, which is why we both picked villain this week to be able to show off that kind of that side of it. And it's just really cool. There's so much more that's been added. Like set 2 has really changed the grounds of like we knew green in general was the color to be like, hey, look. Lots of units.
It's like the support. It was the.
It's
support
like unit
color.
matter. Yeah, but it was the support color.
It was the support color. It was the color where it's like, hey, I've got all the little guys you want to play, and I've got all of the nice support cards that reward you for doing that. But I'm not a base color. I don't have my own big guys or end game goals. Yeah. I'm just going to help the other color do what it needs to. But now we've got some absolutely absurd late game cards. Like, man, just like. Listing off a few, the ship we were talking about, the Equitans, Arquides or whatever it's called, the assault ship, Patissa, Jabba's Rancor. Oh, yeah. I mean, we might as well talk about him. Darth Maul.
Yeah, Maul good. Maul very good. Maul's ability to put damage on base constantly is just great, and his ability, like being able to be like, you'll see it in the gameplay if you check it out. I play Salacious Crumb, fantastic card, heal 1. I play Maul, bounce it into that. I'll kill my Salacious Crumb.
And now you've got a 7-6 who can do it again next turn. Maul is bonkers. I find a lot of games I sit there and I go, it's just like a Mexican standoff of like, who's going to Maul first?
Yeah.
Like, oh, bah! And then if you've got the Maul, bow, bow, and it's just like
back and forth.
So Maul is insane. Ambush, nuts. Overwhelm, bonkers. 7 attack, wild. Moving damage onto another underworld unit, newsflash. There are a lot of them and they're incredible.
Can't tell how many times I've just put the damage onto Jabba. And just been like, go on, big boy.
Put the damage onto Hondo. Like, he's got 7 health. Put it on the Cad. He's got 8 health. It just doesn't matter. Putting it onto Proxima. Put it onto your crafty smuggler's shield.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like, ping off shields. Put it onto your Zuckuss. It just doesn't matter. And it's not limited to ground. Put it onto a space unit. Like, it's... Being able to have a survivable... absolute beat stick is wild. This is a card that's like, oh yeah, a legendary. Wrong. It's a rare.
Yeah, crazy.
I still actually can't wrap my head around
wild that we got that as a rare.
Right?
But should be a legendary.
Should be a legendary.
Incredible card.
Should be a legendary. But it's not.
It's not.
It's just a rare.
It's just a rare. I think all the big cards from set 1 still are there, and it's almost as if the set 1 green is there to support set 2 green now, like rather than before when it was just supporting other things.
It's now its own supporting color.
I like to talk about Echo as well, like we talked about. We talked about him before, but like Echo is just such a interesting card on being able to do a bunch of different things with him, and the shenanigans you can pull out with him is pretty crazy. And as much as yellow is the full shenanigans color, I think green, Hero especially, has a lot of weird bouncy plays that it does.
It really does.
I think Hero green plays more like yellow than green, and sometimes because you start doing stuff like Bright Hope
bouncing
and
an Echo, play
burn
Echo,
Bright Hope, and then like U-wing into Bright Hope and Akbar and bounce and ping and bounce, and it becomes this kind of like weird puzzle that you're like playing, and your opponent's like, what's happening? Why do you have 7 units on board? And you're like, hang on a second.
I mean, Echo's
8 units.
Echo's just incredible though. Like, he's a 4/4. He can be a 6/6. Restore 2. It's just solid. Or he buffs another unit and he's obnoxious. Like, you put him down and they're like, it's a 4/4. Really annoying.
Yeah.
You're like, it is. It's just and then like running him in decks like Chewbacca, where you flipped your Chewie leader and you play an Echo and discard the 8-cost Chewie to buff your Chewie leader and make him a 4/11 Sentinel Grit is just nuts. So like Echo is amazing, and then how does Echo get around? He gets around on the Marauder. That's what.
More ramp that we were talking about before.
More ramp, but most importantly, a 4/5 ambush in space.
Very useful.
That has actually saved my life so many times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, and lived to tell the tale. Like, it'll ram into something and just live. It's my best and most effective way at killing Xanadu Bloods. Because usually I'm able to get 2 damage onto it somehow, and then I'm like, here's the Marauder, baby, shuttling the batch.
Well, I think they did add a couple of these like ambush ships in, probably in part to deal with the ship problem that we have going on in yellow at the moment. The Phantom Tie, creating...
It's a ship time, I tell you what.
Oh, it's a ship time. And so Marauder are having that ambush in space, and then the capital ship that ramps as well. Having the ambush in space is actually really, really helpful.
100%. For just clearing mid, early, and late game, it needs to happen, especially because people are now cottoning onto the fact that space race is a real thing.
Oh, it's a real thing, absolutely.
Like, it was a real thing set 1, but I think like Come set 3,
It's dangerous.
I think come set 3 may even just see like just a space race meta deck because like there'll probably just be enough pieces at that point.
It probably is now if you wanted to build it. Like at the end of the
if-
day, I
if you
think
can
you could
crack the
probably get away
code,
with it.
yeah.
It just you need to work out what leader and
You need
what.
to crack the code for it.
Yeah.
But once you've done it, I think like
You're definitely going to easily be able to top your locals with it, and whether it takes it to like further to planetary qualifiers. We just had some interesting announcements about recently. They just had a stream yesterday that talked about the planetary qualifiers and organized play and all that stuff, which was really excited. We're going to be seeing the kits coming in soon of what those planetary qualifiers are looking like. And you can bet your bottom dollar we're going to be running out to the first one that we can get our grubby little hands on.
Oh yeah, my filthy little mitts.
And maybe we're playing Command.
Maybe. I mean, like, hey, I played Sabine Command last set, and you know what's really good in her? Darksaber.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not super applicable in a lot of decks, but I think it's worth mentioning that Sabine Green is an incredible deck. We know this. Sabine Green with a Darksaber is gross. You put it onto Sabine, and it's filthy. You put it onto a unit that's not Sabine, and it's filthy because that unit can swing, and it's buffing Sabine every time.
Yeah, and you're playing green, so you're playing 4 for it either way. And it's just an absolutely nuts amount of stats to be able to just throw onto something.
Yeah.
And especially when there's a lot of the upgrade removal that we received in set 2 is limited to 2 or 3 cost upgrades. So this dodges a lot of that.
And non-unique upgrades.
And non-unique upgrades.
There's a few things that hit specifically non-unique. So
That's true.
slapping the Darksaber on Sabine, lore accurate, and getting her in there is pretty awesome. And as a Rebels fan, once again, I love it. I love it when the lady has the saber. Go Rens.
Unless it's coming at you.
Unless it's coming at you, then I'm like, ooh,
Maybe
confiscate.
Yeah.
Let's just have Gar Saxon take that one back for a little while, shall we?
Honestly, just talking about the Darksaber, talking about green, confiscate is coming back.
Yeah,
It
really is.
There are decks, and I think these mono green decks that we've been playing are one of them that need confiscate. Mono green does have a kind of down, like we're saying how great it is. We're saying how great it is. It does have a downfall at the moment of no upgrade removal.
Every single color except green has upgrade removal. Yellow has the 1 cost bounce and not upgrade. Red has disabling Fang Fighter, and yellow also has bamboozle. And then red's got the short circuit, the malfunction, and disabling Fang Fighter.
Red's got heaps. Aggression.
And aggression. And blue has the stealing one now. Blue has the pay 3, take, steal, and upgrade. What does yellow, or does green have? Well, that was the question.
Overwhelming Barrage?
Well, I mean, it's not really upgrade removal, that's unit removal. Effective, true, but you need confiscate.
Absolutely. Confiscate is one of the key.
Something I learned at locals.
Something that I learned at locals too. Fun fact: Sabine, Boba.
Oh yeah, putting Boba's armor onto Boba's good. Putting the Darksaber onto Sabine is good. And when you
gotta
don't
learn how
have
to
a
get
way
rid of it.
When you don't have a way to deal with it, it's actually really good. So
yeah. But absolutely, green has just come through with a lot of really base, awesome things, and
all of the green leaders this set are really good. Hondo we rated a lot lower, and I'm gonna say it. Smuggle is actually a really good mechanic. Like we rated him low because we didn't think there was enough smuggle. We were wrong. There's a lot, and turns out when you can smuggle in a 6 cost 5/5 that costs 4 normally, that's great. Make it a 6/6 with Hondo. But most importantly, the 2 biggest and most impactful ones is the tank. That's a wild card, even if you're not in Hondo.
Yeah.
And another card that's a great green smuggle card if you're not in Hondo is Weak Way Pirates.
Yeah, the ambush on them is actually really, really
not
relevant.
having to expend a card and ambushing it out. It's even better in Hondo because you can give it a counter. But
make it that 4/4.
That's nuts to be able to just pay 5, get a 3/3 ambush out like without having to expend any resources. Jabba is factually the leader with the most health in the game.
Absolutely is, and it shows. There was a few games there where you're like, how much health do you have left there? And I went 8, and you went.
But he's got like 6 damage on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Command.
Yeah, command. And then being able to have support cards like Patissa, Jabba's Rancor.
Oh, Jabba's Rancor
That's
is
actually a really good card.
a 7-cost 9/9 that deals 3 to something to deal 3 to...
And then you flip Jabba and it captures something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Crazy.
And it can keep pinging every single turn. I
think it's just on play, isn't it?
No. It's when played and when attack.
Is it?
And I think... I may be wrong about this, but I think it's deal 3 damage to another unit and then
to a unit.
No, I think it might be another.
You can do it to itself.
Can it?
I believe so. It's up here. You tell us. But yeah, that card is absolutely huge.
It's actually such a bomb.
And there's 2 cards that I want to talk about that I haven't played around with yet. I know that they're really good, and I know that they come in they're going to be huge in a deck. I just haven't come up with what deck it is yet, and that is Cobb Vanth and Bounty Hunter's Quarry.
Okay, I have played these in the deck, and they are really good.
What?
I play them in a green-yellow Mandalorian build because you turn 1 bounty posting on a Bounty Hunter's Quarry and turn 2 Cobb Vanth into their turn 1 play to go get a 3 cost and a 2 cost for absolutely free, and you kill their turn 1 play. Cobb Vanth is frankly really good. Run him in Han, play him turn 1, and play literally literally any 2 cost in the game for free.
You want to play Bazine?
Bazinga.
God damn it.
Bounty Hunter's Quarry is awesome. Like, playing it in Bosk, I've literally won games off the back of just killing something with Bounty Hunter's Quarry and going and a phase 3 and a punishing one. Like,
yeah,
phase 3 Dark Trooper,
and you saw me playing them in the not Mandalorian, the Boba deck that I was playing, and how really interesting that suddenly became when I could go, oh, okay, I'll look at the top 10 and I'll grab this yellow villain Boba.
Yeah,
we've had a lot of both of those cards are kind of the things that are coming in where they're saying play for free, which via the rules negates aspect penalty.
I run 2 Bodhi Rook in my Mando deck.
Absolutely should.
Because if I can turn to Cobb Vanth and kill you, and my players get a Bodhi Rook to discard a card from your hand and get a Battlefield Marine on the board, I've just got 2 3/3s and you've got nothing, and I've just looked at your hand and pinched something from it. Pretty great. Pretty awesome.
Absolutely great. And I think that's there's a lot that we haven't played with. We haven't had as much time. So there's a lot of, like, as I said, like, I haven't played with those cards yet. I know they're good. I know they're really good. So it just feels like we were saying it before, but set 2 really just filled out the roster on green.
Really did.
And that's not just villain green. That's just not just hero green. But just the green in general, these like kind of neutral green cards added a lot of spice to all this stuff that's going on.
An underrated card I'd like to bring up is Remnant Reserves. You play this more than I do.
run 3 of them in my Jabba deck. Absolutely. One of the games that you'll see in the gameplay, clutch. Absolutely clutch.
Really good.
The amount of times I've pay for Remnant Reserve, get myself a Phase 3 Dark Trooper, something else, and the Crate Dragon. Resource the Crate Dragon for when I Endless Legion him out later, and then draw 2 more cards for next turn, and then I just have this full hand, and with a full hand, I can play a green unit.
Yeah.
Then I can play probably one of the most underrated cards I had going into set 2.
Yes, baby.
And that is the
Piggies! The Gamorrean Guard. I thought these cards...
Gamorrean Retinue.
No, Gamorrean Retinue. I thought this card was mid, and then I reread it again because I originally thought it was a 3-cost 2/3 Sentinel if you had a green unit.
Yeah.
And I was like, that sucks. And then I reread it and went, it's a 2-cost 3/2 Sentinel if you have a green unit. And I went, that's fine. And then I played it. It is way better than fine.
It's so good.
Incredible. It's a turn 1 Echo Base.
It's a turn 1.
It's a turn 1 Echo Base. It is. You could play it and then play Echo Base Defender.
Yeah. It's so good in a way where it's so great at forcing trades because it's a 3/2. It's like, yeah, it's going to die most of the time in the first 2 turns.
Kill something.
But also, I don't care.
Yeah.
And also, late game, you're like, I've got Jabba's Rancor! And I'm like, pig, swing into it. And they go, oh. Yes, but I can ping it for 3 first. You're like, yeah, but you still have to swing into it, so you're not swinging into base.
That sucks.
And they're just there. They're just annoying.
One of my favorite things that I've ever done is a CAD player was like, all right, I'm going first to play Crumb. And I'm like, awesome. Ambush the pig in with ECL and kill it. And the pig lives!
The pig lives!
And then they went, that's really good. And I was like, yeah. And then the next turn, they were like, I've only got Cloud Rider. So their options were Cloud Rider into the pig, or do nothing. You can't beat good business like that.
No, you can't beat
You
good
can't
business
beat
like
good
that.
business like that. Absolutely.
The pig is fantastic.
It
The
is
the ability to gain Sentinel so easily, especially in these mono green decks that we're playing. It's like, I play something else. I flip my leader. I don't care. Like, it's now a Sentinel. So often it'll be, I'll turn 1 pig, and then turn 2 immediately play a Crumb, and the Crumb's protected now, so you can get that kind of
Crumb's
they're like
protected, you're protected, piggies.
I think the piggies is absolutely going to be huge into the aggro matchup. It's going to give green that time to be able to actually use their ramp.
Oh yeah.
And get it up. I've even gone stuff like piggies into Death Star DJ, and it's like, are you protecting your Death Star DJ? It's like, no, I'm protecting my base now, and I can.
Yeah.
So you swing into it, and I'm like, awesome. Now my DJ has can swing next turn, and
I think it's just an incredible card. Like it's a card that you look at and you go, but its value is so subtle and so effective. And once again, we talk about it, but that's kind of what all the new green cards have done or highlighted, is that all green is just effective and subtle value in a way that is good with no downsides. I think another card that's really good is Outland TIE Vanguard. I love going turn 2 Outland TIE Vanguard, buff the pig, play Salacious Crumb.
A 4/3. Ooh.
Yeah, a 4/3. That is an Echo-based defender, and you've got a space unit. But not only that, but a 2/1 is nice. That's great. But just being able to buff any other unit, any other 3 or less, regardless of color, regardless of restriction. You know, you can buff a Star Viper. You can buff a Black Sun Sentinel. You can buff the Dark Troopers. I've done it. You can even buff a Crumb.
Oh, I love buffing Crumb.
Buffing the Crumb.
One of my pre-releases, a Moment of Glory Crumb.
I have commanded a Crumb before.
Oh.
Yeah, to kill a unit, I was like 2/1/1 counters and ping it, and then I swung
3.
3 into base. But just it's you look at stuff like that, and you're like, wow. Like, I didn't think of that. Like, the value of that's really good, of just being able to buff small things. And then I think that's like the value of the new cards, but what old cards get better?
Well, I think there's a lot of old cards that get better. I think the main one, and we've talked about it 100 times, it's Command. Command has found decks that it can actually fit into really well.
And it's like, when we were, both of us experienced this when we went to Locals on Tuesday, we'd play a Command, and the reaction I got every time I played a Command was, why haven't people been running this? Like,
I got Scoop.
Yeah, people picked up my Command and were like, this is incredible.
What is
like,
this?
This is actually incredible.
Yeah.
Like, they read it through and were like, this is an insane card. Why isn't anyone running this? And my answer was because there was no deck that it belonged in until now. But now, there's so many good decks. You put bounties out. You ramp. You kill with the 3 or lesses. You do business.
And I think, to talk about old cards that have come through, I think a lot of them are cards that were just good and used. Relentless, fantastic in these, ramp decks.
Especially now with cards like Evacuate.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's just so much stuff that you can do with these kinds of, those green packages you had before are now moving into the limelight because of the new green stuff that's being added. What I want to talk about is how green has changed from set 1 to set 2. What has actually, like, you've played green in set 1, you know what it's doing, what's actually changed in set 2. And I think completely separate from villain to hero, because hero has become more like villain, whereas villain has become just more elevated in itself. It's kind of doing the same thing, just better now.
Oh yeah, Overwhelming Barrage is still really good. Anyway.
Yeah, Overwhelming Barrage
it's
is
like,
still really
it's
good.
even better now.
Yeah.
Good job, design team.
Great, one of the best neutral cards that's still very, very good. Gotten better even. Reinforcement Walker. That card slaps.
He is.
But yes, villain. Most of what villain green was ramp, right? We had this ramp Vader, which was the OG. It was the starter deck. It's what it wanted to do, and it did it very well.
Oh yeah.
We've taken that, and you can go two ways with it. You can really branch out in what and create a more, like you're doing with Hondo, a more aggressive, lower to the ground strategy.
Yeah. Hondo's a really good mid-range deck, and I found that I found that my Hondo deck is better than most mid-range decks out there. Like full stop, because I win the race by getting out small units and then buffing them, and then late game, my top end's not great, but neither is yours. But I'm playing cards for free without spending resources from my hand.
Yeah.
And when I play them, they're getting buffed up. And then you might play a Devastator, but all I have to do is buff them all and then Overwhelming Barrage to kill it.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that where I have more options than you have. And that's one of the reasons why I really like Hondo. I've found that, not going to lie, it's probably my favorite deck this set.
Absolutely.
It's so much fun. Definitely underrated him.
Or you can go more my route with it, where you really lean into the ramp and go, well, if I'm ramping, let's ramp.
Endless Legions!
And you'll notice, if you watch the gameplay back, I didn't ramp that much. I did a lot, but I didn't draw a single one of my Super Laser Technicians.
You ramped a lot.
All 3 games, I did not see a single Super Laser Technician.
Well, I don't think that's to say you didn't ramp a lot. I think that speaks.
I just kept drawing command.
I think that speaks more to the fact. Yeah, I think that speaks more to the fact that, like, you played a resupply here and there. You played commands. I think you played like 2 commands a game.
That
so
card's nuts.
you ramped a lot.
Yes,
but that's to highlight cards that we don't always get to highlight. Like, if you ramped with a resupply or a Death Star DJ, it's like, okay, that's a given. You got to ramp with command, and it felt really good.
And I actually got a couple to show off ramping with that new ship as well, which was really good.
Twice. Then I got to ramp with command, and like every time I've played a command, I've never been like, this sucks. I've been like, thank God.
Yeah, I'll draw a command and be like, thank you,
command.
Please. But yeah, just that much higher level of ramp that goes into stuff like
that as well.
Yeah, and that's even like ramp that I don't even run, right? I found that like there's a lot of stuff going on a lot of ramp that I could like fit more in, but I wanted the deck to be able to survive that early game. Whereas if you just put like, I could go the route of just being like ramp.
It's interesting that we were talking that set 1, we were like, there's not enough options, and now set 2 you literally just said that there's too many options.
Exactly.
I don't know what to put in sometimes because I'm like, for you especially, the one thing I've heard you say about your Jabba deck more than anything, aside from that it's super fun, it's so tight. There is like no room for you to change stuff because you just have so many things you want in the deck.
And I think one of the things that might sound strange is I'm actually considering taking out Death Star DJ of that deck.
You've got commands, you've got resupplies. That could be taking up a slot that could be used for something else.
I'm gonna replace it with Price on Your Head.
Yeah,
for the sole reason, I have too many cards that ramp themselves. where I'm trying to get big units into my energy.
Yeah.
So I want something that ramps off the top of the deck.
Interestingly enough as well, Death Star DJ's value goes way down when you aren't able to ambush it in. But price on your head's value goes up when you can price on your head and then Patissa and kill something and then ramp and then, you know, you've also Jabba bountied it, so you're playing something else for free, like a crumb for free. So
price on your head and you're like, and then they look across the board at a double commanded up crosshair being
and
like...
he just goes, pew! Good soldiers follow orders. But yeah, it's incredible the way that green has been the color that has been impacted the most in set 2.
And speaking of being impacted a lot, I think moving on to heroism, we really take a huge difference in heroism. Whereas before, the only way to really play green heroism was aggro, full aggro, or harm, which was the only way to ramp effectively. Now, with all these additional things adding ramp to it, we can get to those turns where we do just nut stuff.
Yeah.
I think
incredible ramp, incredible mid-range value, and the aggro's gotten better as well with decks like Boba Fett. But the mid-range on Boba Fett's really good, and the ramp in Hunter is so much fun.
And can we talk about how much healing you can get out of a mono green hero deck?
So I've had games. The first time I ever played that mono green Hunter deck, you sent me the list, and I was like, "This is gonna be awesome." I played it. I was on 5 health, and I won the game and ended on 22.
Yep, and that's not unheard of.
No, it's
because you have so much stuff. Sundari Protector,
Sundari, Akbar, Yularen,
Echo.
Home One.
People forget that Echo is Restore 2.
So much healing.
Yeah.
Like so much healing.
Yeah, and just being able to be like, awesome. I'm going to Yularen.
Yularen Ewing.
You play Ewing, go, awesome. Yularen, Battlefield Marine, Sundari Protector.
Cool. Heal 3, done. Or, Yularen, Akbar, Battlefield Marine, heal 3, ping something for 3.
Yeah.
Like, just the weird shenanigans and little just gotchas that Green Hero can do is wild.
Yeah.
And then a deck that I've been looking into testing out as an interesting concept, purely green, aggro, Green Hero Boba.
Yeah,
Modular
absolutely.
cohorts, piggies, protectors. You've got all of these cards now, and then you can buff them up with cards like Command. You can put Dark Sabers onto people. All of this stuff just coming out of the woodwork, putting a Dark Saber onto your Boba Fett leader and then swinging and buffing up your Sundari Protectors who are Mandalorians.
I should put Dark Saber in Jabba to give Jabba the Dark Saber.
Me see Jabba to me, man.
But actually, he sticks around for so long.
Well,
It would be worth it.
I think personally, a 615 Jabba isn't that great. Means you do have to put Pre-Vizsla in your deck so that when you Endless Legion, you can get him out and be like, okay, I'll swing Jabba and put a counter on him. Of course, that way it's not wasted value.
Yeah, it's not wasted value.
Oh boy.
The original version of that deck was the ultimate meme, and I really condensed it down to take it to our first locals to be an actual
spent years at the blacksmith table, just ding, ding. Whew, we're nearly there.
Just taking out random, just off-color cards that were really funny to play with Endless
Taking
Legion.
out staples that didn't work, weirdly enough. Just being like, oh, this card that would theoretically be really good sucks. Out you go.
Which is what I'm currently tinkering away at for the realizing I don't really use the
Death Star
DJ very much.
It'd be more handy to have something else. And it's the same process I went through with Hondo. I originally built it yellow-green and then went, this is good. But then I decided to try mono-green, and that deck's incredible. It's just got so much potential. So definitely look out for cards. And I think the biggest thing is green has been elevated a ridiculous degree. And when you look at these green cards, you simply cannot think about them in the same lens as set 1. Don't look at Command and go, but no one played at set 1.
Yeah.
Because you're going to play it now. Don't look at cards like the Piggy and do what I did and go, it's meh. It's not. And make sure you're opening your mind when you're looking at these new cards, because there is so many ways that you can use them without realizing how good it is.
Both me and Reese played mono green in our first locals. We did not discuss it beforehand.
Nope.
We both went, huh.
We rocked up.
And went like...
What are you playing?
What are you playing?
I'm playing mono green Honda. What are you doing?
Mono green Jabba.
Oh, we're probably going to go 1-3, right?
And that's the thing, like, don't underestimate anything. Never. Ever. Don't. Stop it. I know you're doing it. You're currently being like, oh, but this is really bad.
Yeah, well, you lose now.
No.
The moment you underestimate is the moment that they whip out their wild card that you never expected, and you just get destroyed.
Endless Legion is my favorite card of set 2.
It's also got
and it will be my favorite card for set 2 for the entirety of set 2, even if I never play it again.
Is it going to be your favorite card for set 2 and set 3?
Quite possibly.
Hey, when you're able to build your mono green ramp Rex clone deck, give me a call.
Hell yeah. But yeah, at the end of the day, mono green was seen as kind of like the worst of the mono colors, and we're going to be talking about mono colors and how great they are for other decks, but mono green is caught up is the main thing. Mono green is caught up and is such an incredibly fun, more than anything else, incredibly fun deck to play. Would highly recommend.
And I think we're talking about it so much just because it surprised us, frankly, like a lot. Like, I've played green decks for set 2, and I gotta say, most of them aren't as powerful as just run a mono green. So I think, give it a go. Like,
Absolutely.
if you want to play a Hondo deck.
If you want to play Hunter. Stop it. I know everyone's put him in DT's bad. Just play him. Build a mono green Hunter deck and just play him. You will find out how good it is.
I've rarely lost with that deck. Like, and I've played against a lot of good people. And like, this isn't me being like, aha, I'm so good. This is me going, man, did that deck carry me? Like, I've gotten into situations where I'm like, this is real bad. And then you've just, like, I look down at my hand and I'm like, oh, wait. Ewing, home 1. Like, then my opponent's like, oh, awesome. So I can't beat you now. And you go, oh, yeah, Hunter? Bonk!
Big bonks.
And we played it, so you've got the deck list.
You sure do. But that is all we have time for today. Thank you very much for tuning in for the Command breakdown. We're going to be going through the other colors as we move forward. Next week, I believe we decided we were playing Cunning?
Yes.
Cunning. I know what's happening. Don't worry about it. But yes, tune in next week. We'll be playing Cunning. We can't guarantee we're going to be playing mono color decks.
Orlando?
Go on.
I don't wanna.
Yeah, I don't think so. You'd play it and you'd be like, oh my god, it's actually really good.
I wouldn't. I'm a jetpack for 2, but a destroyer resource?
But yeah, tune in next week. We'll be playing Cunning, talking about Cunning, what Cunning's changed, what they've added, why Boba's armor is dumb. Honestly, we're going to be talking about Boba's armor a lot. It's going to be 40 minutes talking about Boba and 10 minutes for the every other card.
Boba armor!
It's okay. You can talk about Fennec. But we will see you next week. Check out the gameplay. Bye.